up ahead. Kuminga. Oh! Cock it back and throw it down.
I'm hearing that he's shortchanging the Warriors and he got to get his act together.
My young fella, I'm on his head. And from what I heard, he's been doing what he's supposed to do this summer.
Nice step back.
Thompson, nice feed inside. Kuminga, the spin and the flush.
Andre Iguodala on his Point Forward podcast has defended Jonathan Kuminga after he was called out by Stephen A. Smith. If you recall, about 2 weeks ago, I released a video titled What Stephen A. Smith is Saying About Jonathan Kuminga. If you haven't watched that video yet, catch it here in the top right of your screen and do so before watching this video. If you've already seen that video, this is the update you guys have been waiting for. So, a quick timeline of events. Kuminga had gone back to the Congo to see his family for the first time in almost a decade and arrived as a celebrity after being drafted into the league and winning a championship with the Warriors. He came back stateside and played in the Summer League, then went back to the Congo for a second time to play for the national team in the FIBA World Cup. Right around the time that Kuminga headed back home to play, the Stephen A. episode aired where he lit up Kuminga for, as he puts it, shortchanging the Warriors. Those details were covered in the prior video. The World Cup qualifier games, which began on August 26th, ended shortly after on August 28th for the Republic after not winning enough games and failing to qualify. As a matter of fact, they did not win any games whatsoever. But Kuminga's performance is getting rave reviews by those who have watched him. Iguodala had this to say.
But I just saw a highlight tape of him playing for his country. And he's over there right now playing in their international games, or what may have it, like who can advance into the Kuminga. And Kuminga is getting busy. I mean, fast break, reverse, pull-ups, like he in his bag, ISOs, getting to it, making shots.
Yeah. Jonathan Kuminga is clearly doing his job for his home country. While it was only a short stint, Kuminga still averaged 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists over 3 games while shooting 42% from the field. His 3-point shooting is still a struggle as he shot just 24%, but inside the arc he's been proving to be a menace, shooting 67%. I should note that he did this on high volume of 7 threes per game while commanding the attention of the opposing team. For those of you who watched him play in the Summer League, his mid-range shot is coming along maybe a bit ahead of schedule. Despite his struggles outside the arc, he's getting his money inside. We know he's a lob threat and provides a ton of vertical spacing. What we're seeing develop now is that Kawhi-type mid-range, something you don't even see from a player like Giannis. The reason this is so deadly with Kuminga is that he exerts so much power when he attacks the rim. You either get out of his way or take a poster and grab an ice pack.
My young fella, I'm on his head. And he took some licks from Stephen A. I don't know how warranted they were. I don't know where they came from. Because from what I heard, he's been doing what he's supposed to do this summer.
Iguodala has stepped up to defend his young protege, which is exactly what all of us were hoping to hear. If you're looking for a source of information on Kuminga, you can't get much closer than Andre Iguodala. We do want to pay careful attention to how he worded his statement, however. He says from what he's been hearing, Kuminga is doing what he's supposed to. That means he heard Stephen A's comments, made some calls, and got to the bottom of whatever it was that was going on. Considering Andre is essentially an insider with the Warriors as they have a spot that they're still holding for him, and the fact that he's been working very closely with Kuminga, his word on Kuminga is certified platinum. I'd like to think that if there was an issue with JK, until the Warriors sign someone else to take that spot on the roster, and even then, Iguodala would be one of the first to know. Although we still had 2 months of summer since the championship, and it's anyone's guess how much time Iggy has spent with Kuminga during the break as we are now in September, I'm going to put his word above Stephen A's. Now, whether or not Stephen A was just trying to stir the pot or bring up a talking point because of a slow news day, the impact is still the same. Kuminga recognizes he's in the spotlight and still has a trajectory with the Warriors that will allow the team to reap the benefits of this investment for years to come. This really is an interesting development for a number of reasons. The first is that despite some of the issues we saw with Kuminga in the Summer League, some of which can be attributed to the difficulties he's faced up to this point in his life and his career, he's still getting a lot of positive feedback from his mentors. Second is the fact that Andre publicly defending Kuminga means a lot for him, as it shows that his teammates will have his back. He'll know that he doesn't have to shoulder that load by himself. To take it a step further, that burden of being a lottery pick and then having to ascend to a prominent role in one of the greatest franchises in NBA history while carrying a whole country on his back doesn't have to be carried by him alone. The coaching staff with Andre Iguodala and Kenny Atkinson, just to name a few, are right there with him to carry those expectations as well. Their successes are tied together. Unlike most organizations that give up on their young players after 1 or 2 years, you won't find that here at Golden State. This means a player like Kuminga will be given the opportunity to develop to the best of his potential. When you think about it, most lottery picks go to a team and have the pressure of having to live up to being the first, second, or worst, third option on a team that will pack on the minutes and expect these young guys to come in out of high school and lead that team at the next level. These expectations alone can make it impossible for some guys to flourish in the league. The Warriors somehow managed to pick up Kuminga and Moody with the same home run potential. Guys that can be expected at some point in their career to be that first or second option, but have them currently in secondary roles to develop into those future superstar players without the pressure of doing it today. This makes a big difference. Instead of having a coach throwing their hands up in the air in frustration when you made the same mistake 10 times in one night and throwing you on the bench, you make the mistake twice and get to work at it the next day in practice. Believe it or not, this is the best thing that could happen to Kuminga's career. One of the most important aspects of a player's development is their confidence. A player's confidence in the wrong situation, regardless of how talented, can be ruined, which will in turn ruin that player's career. For guys like Kuminga and Moody, this is like playing in college, but at the next level. They're being specifically tooled to compete in the NBA. If what this means still isn't clear, this is combining the learning experience of college ball while specifically focusing on the NBA aspect. With their already high ceilings, this method will push that ceiling even higher. Why do you think they will be putting Wiseman in a secondary role this coming year behind Looney? It is the better way to go. This is why, despite missing a ton of playing time in his early years, it isn't crucial. Embiid recently went through this. Zion is currently going through it as well. Players in the past like David Robinson or even Stephen Curry, who had time to work on their game prior to coming into the league, have managed to flourish years later. The staff at Golden State get this concept and are applying it to the entire young core to get these guys ready. However, doing so at an advanced level. It's already done wonders for Kid Splash as well and will do the same for Kuminga. So at this point, you might be wondering, what are some things that JK is likely focusing on aside from just being able to hit from the mid-range and from deep? As the game continues to evolve, a lot of people put a lot of pressure on the ability of a player to shoot threes, and for most players, this is true. This is where the comparison to Giannis and to an extent Zion Williamson comes in. Those are two players that absolutely do not need a three-point shot, but at different levels. Not everyone needs to be a 3-level scorer to be effective. Zion can dominate at the rim due to his sheer size and athleticism. Giannis does the same, but with added length and height and less power. Kuminga falls somewhere in between, but packs about the same amount of power as Giannis. Where he makes up for this is his ability to shoot in the mid-range, where he does this better than both. In order for Kuminga to reach the next level, he'll have to be able to know his spots, get to these spots, and be consistent in hitting these shots. This will lead to Kerr writing plays for Kuminga to get these looks if he continues to hit them at a high clip. Kuminga is very effective with the ball in his hands and does have the potential to become a primary ball handler. Imagine Kuminga in a pick and roll with Wiseman, with Moody and Poole at the wings ready to catch and shoot, while Wiggins back cuts from the weak side for a throwdown. This puts the lineup in the best position to capitalize on the possession and can end in 5 different nasty outcomes for the opposing team. That's 2 posters, 2 demoralizing threes, or a wide open elbow jumper for Kuminga. Another important aspect that he has to work on, one that's even more important than being able to hit threes at a high clip, is his ability to play without the ball in his hands. This is the single most important aspect of playing ball successfully at Golden State, aside from playing defense. Kuminga tends to float around a bit, but that's expected as he's learning how to move within an already defined offense that has been said to be one of the most complex of any organization in the league. He'll have to learn to move within the offense in the same way that Kevon has learned to master the role playing required of him for the team to win. The difference is that at times, Kuminga will be the focal point of the offense. When he's not, however, getting to the right spots when the next play is called is going to be crucial in determining his level of success with Golden State. With his bag, Kuminga does not need to develop an outside shot to be effective on this team. although on low volume, I suspect he'll easily shoot 35% from deep. On the defensive end, Kuminga is still young and has a lot to learn in playing within an organized team defense. He has all the tools to defend 1 through 5, but will struggle for at least the first couple of years guarding the league's veterans. While he still has a few defensive breakdowns, these don't define who he is as a player or who he will be in a couple of years. Let's not expect too much and consider that the coaching staff are correcting these issues as he moves forward. A lot of his defensive deficiencies can be resolved through his understanding of the game at this level, his rotations, help defense, and anticipation. He's got one of the best defenders to ever play the game as a mentor, so best believe Draymond is in his ear as well. We see JK tearing it up overseas as the best player on the floor in a grown man's league. For him to do this and still be only 19 is pretty incredible. Kawhi Leonard was drafted as a 20-year-old and averaged 8 points per game in 24 minutes, shooting 49% from the field, while starting a majority of the games for the Spurs. Kuminga, a year younger than Kawhi when drafted, averaged 9 points in only 17 minutes on 51% efficiency while coming off the bench. I don't know how much clearer I can make this. He has a lot of time to develop and has barely even gotten started. So, cool the Jets, Stephen A. Jonathan Kuminga will be unleashed. Don't forget to subscribe for more content, and thanks for watching. Till next time, swish.
KD the shit cock, word I'm a player, the real player. I don't give a prayer, man, fuck a naysayer. I block so hard, sweetie get served. Call me Lonzo Ball, bitches get swerved.